Welcome to the Video Insiders Podcast. I'm Carlos Pacheco.
And I'm Mr. Martin, YouTube expert and primary school homeschool teacher.
All right. I don't think we need to explain more what we do. Yeah. That's basically the best description of what we do for a living, except I'm more of a... I'm more of a fur baby. I don't know, coach or something, or it's Wrangler. That's the word I'm looking
Wrangler
for.
of pugs.
Wrangler of pugs, yes. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Tom and I have been working on YouTube for upwards of 7 to 8 years now, and manage many YouTube channels, handle content, and have opinions on the industry. Before we get started on what we want to talk about this week, I want to thank our founding sponsor, TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is the ultimate tool for creators to streamline their daily workflow. If you don't know what TubeBuddy is, it is a plugin that you put on your browser while you're working on YouTube, and it adds so many pro tools to your daily workflow. It really helps you optimize your content for everything that, every little tactic that you need to help your channel grow. TubeBuddy helps you do that. And on top of having all the tools, they have an amazing community that helps each other and asks smart questions. So we definitely recommend them and thank them for a sponsorship. We do have a special offer.
Yeah, I've actually just hooked up another channel to TubeBuddy, and we're just about to jump in to do some thumbnail A/B testing, which we're really excited about. And it'll be the first time I've really dug into that. So we'll be excited to report back on that once that's finished. And if you, like me, have multiple channels, you can get an exclusive multi-channel discount only by visiting videoinsiders.fm/TubeBuddy. Thank you, TubeBuddy.
Thank you, TubeBuddy. So let's get right to it. This is our first podcast of 2021 after a little bit of a holiday break.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I just calculated on my fingers. This is my 10th year. My 10th year working on YouTube.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. So it's like a decade now.
Amazing. I was looking at personal sort of like HR documents from when I used to work at Just for Laughs, and I started in 2012. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm about to hit. I'm hitting my 9th year of working exclusively on the platform.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
it's time flies, man.
20 years between us.
Oh, yeah, we can start doing that. 20 years of working on YouTube. YouTube's not 20 years old, but sure.
But YouTube's only 12 years old.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, lots has changed. For me personally, I now live in the country in a big sprawling mansion. No, it's just a big house, but, learning to live in, the wilderness and everything that has to do. I go from living in a flat to living in a place that has so much maintenance that, I wake up with like hives in terms of the stress. I'm joking. But that's been my big life change over the last month.
Yeah. And I'm, as I alluded to in the intro, I'm now trying to co-school my kids, who are 5 years old and 8 years old, as best I can, along with my poor wife, who's trying to do the same while also working. And it's tough. It is really tough. And it was. This is not new. Like, the UK is now in national lockdown, and we had that back in March. But in March, the kids didn't really have to do too much work. Now they're expected to do a full school day, and that's a whole different ball game in terms of stress levels for everyone. So I'm just trying to rejig my schedule a bit. So I'm going to be working 6 or 7 days a week now, but probably a lot shorter days, just to try and spread it out a bit and take the pressure off. And there's not much of a weekend. There's not much to do at the weekends anyway, so not missing out on much. So, and hopefully it won't be too long. It's scheduled to end mid-Feb, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But we'll see.
Yeah, and we're both UK and Canada sort of in similar situations. I live now in a province that has a full lockdown and full curfew, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. So it's been interesting to see. But what's amazing about my new life is that I don't really see it because I'm so chill in my place that leaving at 8, leaving the house is so foreign to me now.
That's because you can't get through the snow anyway, even if you want.
Exactly. Speaking of which, as we speak, we're about to be hit by a 30 centimeter storm in the next 28 to 48 hours. So I now own a snowblower. Wow. which is a necessity, and currently shopping for a pickup truck, which is my new life. So I'm going to start wearing flannel all the time. And
luckily, you've already got the beard. So yeah,
exactly. Anyways, enough about us. We wanted to sort of start the new year a little bit fresh. And actually, I decided to ping a little community that we're part of, the Pro Channel Managers community on Facebook, which is managed by yours truly, Tom.
Doesn't yours truly mean me?
Yes.
Yes. So not yours truly, but
yeah. Whatever. I've already drank too much this morning.
Yeah.
Is managed by Tron, created and fully controlled, and everything by Tom. And but they're listeners of the show and asked some insights on what they'd like to hear from us, because we've done this for 3 years now, and sometimes
we had a clap sound effect there, please, Joe. That's an achievement in itself.
I'll let him insert that. Sort of like, finding stuff to talk about can be sometimes challenging. At the end of the day, yes, YouTube's changing and there's a lot of businesses to talk about. And we do have plans for stuff, but I also wanted to hear a little bit more from the community as to what they're asking themselves, what they want to talk about. And the sort of consensus was, the feedback that we got back was, just to sort of focus a little bit more on sort of what's happening, the changes happening on the platform, the news that we hear about, and our perspective, as well as more banter between us about our personal lives, which I find fascinating.
Yeah. Well, we've taken like 8 minutes so far, so we're delivering on that, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to sort of address a quick change that's happened this week that we found out is all of a sudden hashtags worked, or depending on who you are, Hashbrowns work. Do you get the joke?
I don't get that joke. Is it a Canadian joke?
No, it's a Cobra Kai joke.
Oh, I'm 2 seasons behind. Sorry.
Okay, so basically, one of the characters is completely social media illiterate and calls hashtags Hashbrowns.
I can do Cobra Kai. So
back in 2018, hashtags started appearing on the platform, but we didn't really know what they did. Like, basically, yes, you'd click on, they'd show up as clickable sort of like hashtags under your videos. You'd click on it, you get sort of like a feed, but it wasn't necessarily, videos that had the hashtag only that would appear. And now, as of, X date, I don't remember. We're speaking mid-January here. When you do click on a hashtag now, your videos show up on sort of a sort of results page and shows you how many people have put hashtags on their video of that specific hashtag.
I'm just checking something because I tested this morning and it didn't work for me. So I'm not sure if it is in the UK yet. So let me just check, because it didn't work this morning. But I didn't click on the link. I actually searched for a hashtag. Do you know what I mean? I actually searched for hashtag something and it didn't work. I'm going to click on a hashtag now and see what happens. Yeah, when you click on a hashtag, a results page comes up. But I was also under the understanding that if you actually searched, as in the search bar, you would get one of these. But that's not the case, at least as we speak in the UK. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So when you search for like hashtag Trump it will look for videos that have actually got hashtag Trump in some other form. So this hashtag page does look a lot better, but it just to let you know, at least at the time of recording, it wasn't working in search, at least for the search bar.
Yeah, it's like for me, I just clicked on it right now, and what's interesting about it is seeing the nice layout of the page when you do arrive on the hashtag. And what's interesting is that when you look at the URL, the URL is youtube.com/hashtag/ the name of the hashtag you're using, so the word that your hashtag you're using. So there's a little bit of a trick there if you want to sort of, instead of clicking.
Can we do a live test? Are you looking at one of those pages now?
Yes, I am.
Can we look at the same one and see if we get the same results?
Yes. So
science live on the podcast.
I'm right now. Do you want to look at a specific hashtag?
Yeah, just whatever one you've got on your page, as long as it's not revealing too much of your search habits.
No, but I think you'll laugh at. I think you'll still laugh at what.
Let's do it. Was it like Pug Dad or something like that?
No, it's weather.
Oh, of course it is. So when I do hashtag weather, I've got 86k videos, 16k channels, and the first result is from the POW Ponder on Weather channel. Is that the same for you?
What W? Ponder on Weather. Okay,
yeah.
So
is that the first result for you?
No. Well, it's the second result.
I've got it for the first and the second result.
For the first result for me, there's a video called Freddie Dread Weather, which is a music video.
Very interesting. So I wonder if it's done by territory, by viewing habit, because it might be that's the top hashtag in Canada or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and then and one thing that's interesting as well, obviously there's a ranking here because one of my clients is in the weather industry, and I'm seeing a couple of my videos, which I'm like yes, but also I'm in Canada and I'm seeing videos for weather in South Asia. And I'm seeing videos that are 1 month old, 2 months old, 4 months old, and 1 year old. And, videos that are like, 1 day old, 3 days old are showing up in like more down into the results. So it's definitely not localized.
Yeah, definitely some kind of algorithm at work here.
Yeah. And I mean, it's insane how much videos I'm seeing of weather in countries in South Asian countries.
Yeah, I'm seeing it a lot. Yeah.
So this is essentially. I mean, I have to say the page is way better. It looks way better in terms of results. The questioning right now is how are these videos being ranked?
I've got an even bigger question, and it's actually one that came up in the same community, like just coincidentally, a day or two before it was released that these pages were being updated, and someone basically just asked, are these worth my time? Like, does it matter if I'm showing up for a certain hashtag or not, or is it worth the time? And I was kind of like, well, does anyone actually ever click on hashtags? Unless you're a journalist doing some research or a student doing some research, if you're doing, let's say, a cooking channel and you do like hashtag, I don't know, barbecue, is that worth it? Is that getting you any traffic? Is it even tracked inside of YouTube analytics? I don't know. So I'd want to have a quick discussion just on that and what you think about that, Carlos.
Well, I think at the end of the day, we're not seeing any sort of like analytics of this, right? We're not seeing it in Google Analytics, hashtags doing anything. I'm hoping with this change that we'll finally start seeing something. But at the same time, hashtags, it's, to me, what bugs me about this is they've been deprecated keywords, SEO tag keywords for, the last couple of years. And then, they deprecate that and then they install hashtags. And it's like, what the hell's the difference? It's like, they're both sort of like doing in a way the same thing. And it's like you deprecate one, you install another one and create more complexity. That doesn't really make, a sense. Yes, people are using hashtags. That part makes sense. But to me, that always bugs me about the way the ecosystem evolves. But, up until now, it felt very much sort of like useless. Do it there, but we have no idea how the results are gonna be affected right now. Now that it's a little bit clearer and we're starting to see some sort of results, and you want to be, shown next to other videos talking about that specific subject matter, I think it's an upgrade. I do think that the practice of hashtags needs to be almost sort of like there should be like this a hashtag strategy 101 type of education in the way people think about hashtags. And it's like, everybody when you create a unique hashtag, nobody knows it. Nobody knows.
that goes back to social media and these brands that have these awful hashtags that they've just made up and they think are gonna, like, they probably get 2 instances and one is from them. I think that just goes back to hashtags in general, doesn't it? But
again, people, I have both clients who will create a hashtag for each video, and I'm like, why the hell are you doing that, right? Like, there is a strategy when it comes to hashtags. You need to understand that it's like your content. Hashtag is about what the content's about, and it's not your brand name with your whatever campaign call to action you have right now, right? So for example, the weather, I always let's use the weather as a great example, as like you have today's weather. Well, the hashtag should be weather, maybe the area where you are. Like for me, it would be Canada, and then a third one would be something, maybe your brand, right? And to me, that's sort of like a hashtag strategy there. The other question that I'm sort of asking is like, we know that like 3 hashtags show up as clickable under your videos. What happens to everything else you put into those videos? Are those still clickable? Even in the description, I'm looking at a video right now with hashtags. Those 3 hashtags are clickable in the description. What happens when you insert 15 hashtags in the description? Have you seen that?
Well, because I think 15 is the maximum. I've heard that number mentioned.
Okay.
So maybe the reason they've got 15 because 15 are clickable and anything above that is non-clickable. Let me check this one, which is also weather hashtag Canada. So they've got 4 and they're all clickable. So.
Oh wow! Okay. I always thought it was only 3.
No, I think there's a maximum of 3 that show above the title. And they're not guaranteed to show either, I believe.
Yeah, and then do they rotate? Like if you have 15, do the hashtags rotate?
No idea. And also, do they change depending on the... Do they change on who...
What are people listening to us for if you don't know?
Because I think this is my whole point, is that I think they're totally... or 90% pointless for YouTube. I really don't. I've never put them on a single video that I've ever uploaded for myself. There are a couple of clients that use them, but I think that's just more out of habit and because they're using the same hashtags across all of their social platforms. But for me, a hashtag is all about a trend of the moment. So whether that's something like, impeach Trump or,
You had to bring it there. You had to
ice bucket challenge. Ice bucket challenge. Oh, you know what I mean? Like a hashtag should be of the moment. A hashtag should not. To me, hashtag weather. If I want to know the weather, I'm not going to search for a hashtag. I'm going to go to the search bar, likely of Google, and put weather place that I live. I'm not going to search. Even if I was going to search YouTube, I'd search for like weather. At least the region that I live, at least the country that I live. I wouldn't click on a hashtag for weather.
You're also old.
So I don't really see the point of a hashtag unless you're making a video about a current trend.
Okay.
Let's say it's like Earth Day or something like that. That would make sense because there will be people that are looking for videos about Earth Day because they're of that moment. But if people want to look for something that is evergreen, why would they search a hashtag rather than just searching for the actual keyword? I can't really see a use case for it really, which is probably why I put so little effort into it, because I think even if I get my hashtag showing up high for whatever hashtag it is, unless it is a really big trending hashtag, I can't see the benefit of it.
Okay, I agree. I accept that argument. I think the point here, and I think different channels can use it differently. If you're a channel that is all about the latest trends, if you want to, as you know, as we speak, if you want to post a video about you singing sea shanties, then like you'd put sea shanties as your hashtag, right? Have you been seeing that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not and have not seen any sea shanties, but I do know because I've seen other people talking about the fact that it's happening. So you've got you've got your finger on the pulse, and I've got my finger on the pulse of people that have got their finger on the pulse at least.
So, so I mean, I think here's the point here is that I think that we're all starting. You and me are old school. We're search ecosystem, raised, right? Your mom and dad or your kids these days, they're growing up with the hashtag ecosystem as part of their everyday social media, diet, right? Any kid or I don't know, where are we? Gen Z now? Gen Z using
they're
these
probably
platforms.
Starting back to Gen A by now, I think.
Yeah. Are using these platforms with hashtags. And I use, when I say these platforms, I mean social platforms like, Instagram. Hashtags are part of the DNA there. And let's bring it back here. The results here, the way this looks right now looks very, very similar to a TikTok hashtag page, right? Let's face it, the social web is being reshaped by TikTok. This, I think, feels like a reason for them to revamp this system so that more people can. And to your point, more people can find a video that's that's jumping on a specific trend, right? I do agree that, you can use it on a jumping on a specific trend, but I do agree also there is a long-term research, long-term, hashtag, research opportunity as well. And from my perspective, it's always been like, do it, figure it out until you start seeing, results and then evolve with it. Up until this point, whenever somebody said, should I be using hashtags, it would be that like whatever emoji, right? I have no idea, right? But now that you're seeing a little bit of an effort and sort of joining into the TikTok sort of like style of like layout and UI, I think there's going to be more of a reason to.
Yeah, and I'd like to play devil's advocate against myself because I always talk about normal YouTube tags, and people often say that they're pointless, and obviously people are entitled to their opinion. And my argument is always, well, while you've got the opportunity to add them, do the best that you can, and if they're being taken into account, then you're doing a good job. And if they're not needed, so what? But if they're needed and you're not doing it, then you've shot yourself in the foot. So there's a part of me that thinks, well, it only takes about 2 seconds to add these hashtags, so you might as well do it. And if there's a benefit, great. If there's not, you're not really losing out. So I think I've kind of argued myself into the fact that you might as well do it just in case.
Yeah, of course, definitely. I just think like now that this page shows up, we might start seeing analytics numbers, in sort of like your traffic sources, hashtag page or, I was thinking YouTube's /hashtag, right? So
yeah, and I think it's only a matter of time now before tools like TubeBuddy start helping you to find hashtag opportunities. Like what are hashtags that are getting clicked on a lot, but they're not necessarily being placed on a lot of videos? Like what are the hashtags that are easy to break into? I think that could be something that we see in a not too near future, not too distant future.
Okay, so to wrap up on this, your advice is to use it or lose it.
Yeah, use it, but don't expect much. But you might as well do it because it doesn't take a lot of work. So.
Exactly. So, again, pay attention to it. Look at the way the pages are showing up. Whenever you're thinking about putting in hashtag, do a test. Check out what's happening on the platform. YouTube // hashtag / whatever name you want to put there, and see what comes up, and if it's interesting to you, and then hopefully we'll start seeing that. We'll keep an eye on that in the analytics of our channels, and we'll report back on that one. One of the things I want to sort of shift towards and sort of approach a couple like news items that popped in over the last couple of over the last week or last couple of weeks is auto post rolls. You just posted that on our little group, and I don't mean to be a promoter of why are they doing this auto post rolls on 10-minute videos.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to say that I do not like post roll videos, and in my training and my talks around ad optimization, I always advise people to turn off post roll ads. So my advice to you would be go and turn them all off now, because they've all been added to all of your videos, and if you've got 1,000 videos, well, good luck in doing that, because they've also turned off a lot of the bulk ad placement options. So TubeBuddy, please save us and build something to do that. But yeah, it's just a long line of things that have been happening over the last, say, 4 to 5 months, which is clearly YouTube trying to claw back lost revenue. So they have also auto-injected mid-roll ads to all videos that are eligible. They've also lowered the threshold of mid-roll ads from 10 minutes to 8 minutes, and this is just another one of those moves, really. They're probably still having an amazing financial year, and even last year they probably did great, but compared to what they probably expected to get, they're probably way down. So to me, this is just another attempt to basically milk every asset for what it's worth. And fair enough, it's their platform. And for most creators, this may be great, and they may make quite a lot of extra money. YouTube certainly will. But I think there are other ways that they could be working to make more money for each video on the platform. And I don't think post-roll ads are the way to go. Absolutely not. Does it make sense why I hate them so much, Carlos? Is this an alien concept that you would not want an ad after your video is finished?
I think it depends on the strategy. Channels that are very, that have a huge audience and don't really worry too much about audience growth, big channels that I work with, they'll turn this on they'll leave this on definitely. Somebody that wants to really optimize for less abandonment and more views and growth, then this is not a good thing for them. So one of the things that I wanted to sort of a little bit of an insight, and I think we're still early on to really say, and I always say this with a caveat being that I manage a bunch of channels, a bunch of networks, and I see what I see, but it doesn't necessarily mean what everybody's going through. But what I'm seeing right now is we're in that phase of the typical Q1 January drop of money, right? What was fascinating for me to see is that as of January 1st, the same day that, we saw that, 30 to 40% daily ad revenue drop, I've seen 10 to 20 to 30% increases in views.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. That to me, sort of like, my tinfoil hat hypothesis has been over the last 6 months, as the ad industry, the digital industry is in a boom, because where else are people going to spend their money, that the ad load on YouTube has become so heavy. Before the holidays, we were seeing we still see to this day 2 pre-rolls before a video, and 2 to 3 mid-roll ads, and then a post-roll ad, and then the commerce ads. So like the influx of advertising has, me personally, turned me off to watching YouTube sometimes. Many times I've been like, I'm just going to skip. I'm just going to turn this off. It's too annoying, right? I think that had an impact on YouTube. I think the fact that YouTube's cleaning up of their ecosystem over the past year has limited the inventory so much that it caused so much the channels that are doing well, that are staying within the confines of being monetized, that they're winning. They're definitely making a crap ton of money, but their videos are being are just surrounded by ads, and that's causing abandonment. And the fact that YouTube has shortened the time for I think it was mid rolls for 8 to 8 minutes. And the fact that now you don't your channel, even if it's not in a partner program, are going to have odds on it.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a massive. That was probably the biggest of all the changes to kind of claw back that revenue.
And then the fact that this news of auto post rolls after 10 minutes is just other ways that YouTube sort of like, oh, we lost so much inventory because of all of this cleanup, and now we need to gain it back. We need to find other places to put ads on it. And there's also the other one, the audio ads, right? Which I've yet to experience, but I think makes a lot of sense considering the music ecosystem of YouTube, while listening to music videos in the background while you're working.
And it's not totally surprising, because if you've got a video that's shorter than 8 minutes, that's also, you're opted in automatically, and you cannot opt out of post rolls. At least on a video longer than 8 minutes, you can actually opt out. If you've got a 3-minute video, that you'll notice that you cannot unclick that post roll ad. They don't always get served. I think it's one of the rarer ad formats that actually get served, but you can't opt out of that. And actually, what I noticed this week, again, totally by coincidence, is that me and a colleague or a partner are working through optimizing a really big old channel. And those videos where they never used to have mid-roll ads, so they're between 8 and 10 minutes, they have now had the ability to add mid-rolls, but the old factor that they could not opt out of post-rolls is still grayed out. So even though those videos between 8 and 10 minutes, you can now have mid-rolls, you can not opt out of post-roll. So that's a bit of a cheeky one from YouTube. But it's their, as it always comes down to, it's their sandpit, it's their playground, their rules. You play by it or you get out. Simple as that.
Yeah. So that's sort of like our sort of observation when it comes to that.
But my real wish, like what would make me so much happier, if you've got all of these inventory, all of this, if you're looking for inventory to sell, do a better job of selling inventory on kids content, find kids safe advertising that you can serve. Because if you watch a kids TV channel, it's absolutely jammed with advertising 24/7. So there's a need to advertise to children, and there are ways to do it which are legal and safe, and at least, whether it's ethically right or not is a different question for a different show. And then secondly is all of that inventory which is currently flagged as not friendly for all advertisers. That needs to be re-looked at, because yes, it's not necessarily for all advertisers, but there are a crap ton of advertisers out there that want to advertise to people that are over 18. In fact, there are a whole lot of companies, including some that I work with, that can only advertise to people over 18. So whether you're working in alcohol or tobacco or gaming or dating or whatever it is, you only want to target people that are over 18. So it kind of boggles my mind that it's just so blanket, like that yellow $ literally is a death knell to your monetization when it doesn't need to be. And I think if they'd be a bit more finessed about that, in the way that advertisers can opt in or out of that stuff, I think they'd claw back a lot of money that way.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's an awesome point there, and you're absolutely right. It boggles my mind that you can have a mature movie or TV show on this platform and get absolutely no money and get millions of views, and they're incapable of sorting out the mature advertisers ecosystem.
Yeah, because I've got a movie channel and I have movies on there that are Hollywood movies with some A-list talent, and there are advertisers that would definitely pay to advertise against that, but because it's been categorized so broadly as not being friendly, it doesn't happen. And so no one wins in that situation.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it needs to be revisited.
I have the same thing. I have a client with a music, not a music, a movie and TV show library, and three out of 5 times, his movies get flagged, right? And it's like so annoying and so unnecessary. So yeah, I think it gets into the space of like YouTube being this middle ground between social everybody trying to attack the TV ecosystem, and trying to be everything for everybody, and it doesn't seem to be working well for everybody in general, right? You're not making you're trying to please everybody, but you're also pissing off a lot more people sometimes. So, I mean, we're going to be cutting it short for, not too short. We've had a good discussion at this point. My next question to you for you, Tom, and it's a little bit of a sort of like, we didn't prepare for this. It's like, how's your Clubhouse strategy coming on?
My strategy so far is to still not install it. So, although I have installed Signal this week because a client has moved all of their communication to Signal, but I'm yet to receive a message on it yet. So I'm happy to keep it that way. I love email, and that is the best way anyone can reach me, unless you are my mum or my wife or my football teammates. I prefer to keep it that way. So yeah, Clubhouse, I don't know what the fuss is all about. It does seem like there's a lot of cool people on there, but I don't have time to check my Twitter feed, let alone add another feed to what I'm already checking. So
I'll give you my 2 cents.
I'll live without it for now, but maybe if there's an opportunity for me to kind of be the YouTube guy on Clubhouse, I'll give it a go. But
too late.
There we go.
Too late. All the main, the usual suspects are already there. It's essentially the way I would sort of describe it. It's the audio version of Twitch. That's the way I would describe it.
I certainly haven't got time to be streaming.
It's not necessarily streaming, but it's more like it's Twitch mixed with a little bit of Slack. Yeah. Closeness in terms of them, and then that's essentially it. And I've jumped into a couple of rooms over the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, okay, this is essentially your personal coach, your business coach's wet dream. Yeah. Right, that's essentially it. It's like, okay, everybody that's sort of like an influencer or a thought leader. That's the word. The thought leader. It's thought leader catnip. Yeah. That's the way I see it. So obviously I get annoyed very quickly of that stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm sort of bored of this. There's good groups. There's everything has good and bad. But just
so I'm going to ask a really stupid question here, because I literally have not even seen a screenshot. All I've seen is screenshot is of people's faces in circles that are obviously like in the rooms. But I'm assuming it's all like asynchronous voice notes. It's not people like having live conversations, is it?
Yes, it is.
So what happens?
Yes, it is.
So what do they get recorded? Is there like a constant?
Nope. It's live. It's a live discussion.
Oh, well, I think I'd be in such a disadvantage because I'd be the only one in my time zone.
No, I mean, Clubhouse is all over the place at this point, right? It's essentially you're in a group. Everybody's like there's a moderator. We're having a discussion. He chooses who can speak and who can respond. And there's a bunch of people who can raise their hands and say, "Can I, interject?" and all that sort of stuff.
If it was like an asynchronous, almost like audio WhatsApp that people could eavesdrop on, I think that would be more valuable to someone like me, because I don't have time. Like, my schedule is so crazy that to actually be online every day at a certain time to join a conversation is just never going to happen. Whereas if I could just leave a voice note in an ongoing chat that just happens to be recorded by audio, that's something I could get on board with maybe, but that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of scheduling.
Well, yeah, there is scheduling. I've had a couple of friends and actually a couple of guests from our shows have had a couple of scheduled events on Clubhouse, and I've joined them and I've just listened in and just hear them talk. But yeah, most of the time I miss them because they're on a schedule, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of the day. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to go into this room and listen in. But it is, it's almost like, one of the first thoughts I have is it's almost like a live podcast recording.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not, if you can't get it on demand later, it's not. It's like a snap. It's more like a Snapchat of podcasts.
Right? But I'm saying, it's not a recording, right? It's like a live podcast, and that's it, right? You cannot, go back to it and re-listen it in and all that sort of stuff. So that I'm 100% sure they'll figure out a way to sort of do
it's
that.
Only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, that's what I meant. There are some YouTube experts in the scene already there. So if you want to jump into those conversations and just listen in, I have jumped into a couple of rooms and just listened in, and just to me, it's I don't learn from it, but it's just interesting to see how everybody it's rinse and repeat on every new platform, and I just find it interesting to just pay attention.
Yeah, I think my mantra for this year is going to be simplification, doing less.
Yes.
So I can't see that becoming part of my repertoire. So
all right, that was just
I'm seeing it so much. It's all I see. Facebook, right? Who's got an invite for me?
Yeah,
no, not interested.
It's so funny how that old strategy, that old Gmail strategy,
is so smart. It is so smart. Yeah, I love it. I do think that is such a smart marketing strategy. And it really it's why it's such a buzz about it, no doubt.
Yeah. Before we, close up, we want to give a big thank you to our founding sponsor, TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy.com is where you sign up for a star or a base plan, and they're really cheap. It's really advantageous to obviously sign up for the year. You get a really good deal, and obviously we have a special deal with us. But anyways, just wanted to sort of once again give a big thanks to them for being an amazing, super useful tool for YouTube channel management, YouTube optimization. To this day, whenever I get a new client and they ask me questions about what I need, and first thing is TubeBuddy, because usually I have to fix hundreds of videos very quickly, and that's the tool that helps me do it. What's our special offer? Where can people sign up?
Yeah, if you need a license for more than one channel, you can get an exclusive multi-channel discount only by visiting videoinsiders.fm/TubeBuddy. Thanks again, TubeBuddy.
Thanks you, TubeBuddy. Tom, have yourself a safe, week. Obviously, I don't know how to say this well, but educate your children well.
Yes.
Go forth and educate. Yes. That's a good way to start to say it. And if you have enjoyed this podcast, please give us a 5-star review. Only 5 stars are accepted on the old Apple Podcast app, and share it with whichever friends you think would really appreciate to hear from 2 grizzled YouTube channel managers talking about the good old days.
The good old days of 2012.
Exactly. All right. Have a good one.